All right, we're just going to do some meditation this morning. Interestingly enough, that's what the class is called. So I'll probably do a couple of different techniques, and then we'll do some single pointed concentration and just sort of ways to help us settle into that. So has anyone done any there's some of you who have been doing 9-round breathing with me for a while, but anyone here not familiar with that particular technique? Okay, good. Everyone knows what they're doing. All right, so let's just settle into our meditation posture. Hi, Shayla. And if you are sitting at a desk with a computer in front of you and your feet are down on the ground, have them in a parallel position, about a hip's width apart. And particularly for those of us who are sitting in a cross-legged position, the regular meditation position, have your sits bones raised maybe 2 to 4 inches or whatever's comfortable for you. And if your hips are tight, you can put a couple of cushions underneath each knee. Welcome, Dani. Hands in this particular tradition, in the meditation mudra, generally is the right hand nestled in the left with the thumbs touching, just resting in your lap. But if that's not particularly comfortable for you, you can just rest your hands on your lap, or if you have another mudra, like if you study yoga or if you've done a different meditation technique and you are accustomed to having your hands in a different way, just basically for this session, just be comfortable. Shoulders are aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light, stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So just feel yourselves getting a little bit taller. Lengthening, lengthening. It would be as if you had a puppeteer above the crown of your head, very gently lengthening you. Now, as much as you can, if this is available to you, lengthen your neck. So imagine lengthening your neck. Perhaps you can, maybe we have our Dr. Spock ears. Someone is pulling you from the ears, lengthening your head away from your shoulders, and then glide your head back to align with the shoulders. Now the tip of the head forward from and hinge from the top of the spine. So rather than allowing this big bowling ball of a head just to kind of pull us forward, just hinge forward. And so not too far forward because you'll be going back to sleep, and be very aware not to have your chin too high up, because if the back of the neck apparently is constricted in any way, it creates tension in the mind. So very slightly tip forward, and the eyes are down, looking along the length of the nose to a spot about 2 inches ahead if they were open. And the tip of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. And this is just to, if you're meditating for hours on end, which is what some of the great meditators do up there in the mountains, they're still doing up there in Dharamsala, the mountains in Nepal. It helps control the amount of saliva, apparently, that you have to deal with. So then when you're meditating in a very subtle level, even swallowing can disturb the mind, can disturb your concentration. So that's what that's for, and relax the jaw. Now bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp. Just feel it all relaxing. And the forehead and the eyes, and particularly if you wear corrective lenses, the back of the eye. Just relax, release any tension there. And the nose, the cheeks, the mouth. And go to the back of the head, where the base of the skull, round about where the occipital bone is. Release any tension there. Relax your ears, your inner ears, the jaw, and release any tension in the back of the tongue. And move your jaw around if you like. Stick your tongue out. Relax the back of the neck and the shoulders. Allow the shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat, chest, belly, limbs, hands, fingers and feet and toes. And check your alignment again. If you are sitting up against a surface of any kind, chair, couch, wall, try not to lean into that surface unless you're not well or you're injured. It's really best if we hold ourselves up. So again, keep lengthening. And don't make too much effort here. It's not forced, just very gentle. And bring the mind to the breath. Just noticing the sensation of the air as you're inhaling, flowing in through the nostrils, and as you're exhaling. You may feel some sensations at the base of the nose, the middle part of the nose, or the tip of the nose, depending on the shape of your nose, and also depending on if you've trained, whether you've trained before in any kind of meditation technique. If there are any sounds in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to follow them with your mind. And then notice what thoughts are arising. And just allow them to arise without judgment or opinion. Maybe take a step back and then switch your focus from noticing the thoughts that are arising to noticing the person who's observing those thoughts. You can become like an objective observer. With curiosity, watch what's arising. And then watch yourself watching what's arising. And we can put ourselves on the bank of our river and just watch that river flowing on by, and knowing while we're sitting on the bank and we're not engaged, we're free. So bring to mind all the people of your life, your loved ones, these people that you have constructive and meaningful relationships with, whether they be your spouses or your children, your best friends. You love these people. You think about them, think of ways to help them. They support you, you support them. And then there are some folk in our lives who we find a bit difficult. And then there's our strangers. Excuse me. And then it's really good to remember that due to the nature of the world in which we live, this samsaric environment that we live in, and karma, these relationships change. And so the stranger can become a friend. Maybe even the person you don't like very much can become a loved one, and vice versa. So it's good to remember that, given that things could change any moment, to remember that the only constant in our life is change. Perhaps for those ones that we love particularly, to remember not to take them for granted. To remind ourselves every day of their good qualities, rather than becoming a little annoyed or irritated, because it could change. And then there's always this little tiny meditation on equanimity. They're all the same, the friend, the enemy, the stranger. They're the same as you in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering, and in having this incredible capacity for an enlightened mind. So I think we'll do these meditations this morning. We've already started well into it, for all these people of our life and for all sentient beings. So we'll start with our 9-round breathing. So as you're breathing in, you've probably done different forms of this, but for those who haven't been doing it in this particular class, I will mirror you, but keep your eyes closed if you need to, if you want to. Breathing in, first of all, through the right nostril, a nice, slow, steady breath. And you can, if you wish, a count of 3 or 4, keep it even. Then pause at the top of the breath and then breathe out through your left nostril all your attachment energy and grasping and neediness and wanting and not feeling enough. Breathe that out as thick, black, yucky smoke. Now breathe in through the left, blissful, radiant white light, and pause at the top of the breath. And then breathe out through your right nostril all your anger energy and bitterness and grudges and hatred and jealousy. Just get rid of it all. And breathe it out as thick, black, yucky smoke. And that disappears into space. So you do that 3 times. And then now breathe in through both nostrils, blissful, radiant white light. Nice, slow, steady breath, pausing at the top. And then breathe out all your ignorance. And this is really the ignorance of how things truly exist. And the ignorance of not understanding or appreciating karma, cause and effect. So do that 3 times. So we'll do 3 sets of 3 in our own time. So recall before we start, just recall the mind as you started, and then feel at the end. I'll guide you. And when you finish, just bring the mind back to the breath and feel. And if you're not finished quite, that's okay. You can keep going, or you can just stop and feel. And even through the Zoom, and even though some of you have your cameras off, I can still get a sense of the stillness. Maybe you can too. So just bring the mind back to the breath. We're going to do 2 or 3 minutes of single point of concentration, just noticing the sensation of the air as it's flowing in and out through the nostrils. And just relax. Maybe change your sitting position if you need to, have a wriggle, then realign yourself. Bring the mind back to the breath. So now this next little technique is helping to develop concentration. It's just basically breathing. So we're counting our breath. So what we do is, as we're inhaling, start to count. Inhaling, exhaling 1. Inhaling, exhale 2. Inhale, exhale 3. And if you've got somebody in the room with you, maybe just don't talk to yourself. So the idea of this is to keep focused on the counting. And if while you're counting, all of a sudden you notice your mind has sort of disappeared somewhere and you've lost count, don't even know where you are, you have to go back to 1. So see how far you can get before the mind disappears and wanders off onto some other track. It actually sounds very simple, but if we're being very honest with ourselves, I personally, when I haven't done this for a while, find that I can't get past about 3 or 2 before my mind sort of disappeared. So it's just a way to help us rein our mind in. So let's just do that for the next 5 minutes. So inhale, exhale, 1, and so on. Okay, just relax the technique and feel. And bring the mind back to the breath. And for this final minute of our session, really focus. Focus on the breath. Okay, just relax and let's just dedicate all the merit that we've created doing this meditation to all those people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings, and to ourselves, to yourself. as we're moving through and along our spiritual path. And as we move out into the day. And have a wonderful day, everybody. Lots of love. Thank you for hosting, Michael. So nice to see you all. Thank you for coming. And I'll see some of you this evening. Okay, thank you. Goodbye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Madam. Okay.